Hello, my name is Justin Simpson. I work with the company Thermo Technologies. We make Thermogel and we market FireDose, our water-driven proportioning system. I'm the Southern California representative for the company, and Steve Turner here has asked me to go through our POC nozzle system, how it works and how to clean it. So that's what I'd like to discuss. I'll take the nozzle apart.
Go ahead.
For cleaning the POC nozzle system, this is an important element to the functionality of the system. It does need to be cleaned. So now if you're using it on an incident, and it's going to be used off and on for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you don't need to clean it after every use. That's not necessary. What I would do is just leave it, if possible, leave it all together. This screws into here. You could just leave it all as one unit. When you're done with the incident and it's going to sit in the station, on your apparatus, wherever, for a long period of time, that's when you want to clean it. So as you know, this screws into here. You'd unscrew this, just simply unscrew it. One very important piece of information, I never recommend any water going through this hose. It's not necessary. The gel concentrate in this hose, that's all that goes through this hose, and gel concentrate won't harden. It would take ages for it to harden. So there's no need to ever flush this out. If you want to, you can, but you just have to make sure, I would suggest flushing it with a saltwater solution and then making sure it's completely dry before you use it again. But again, it's not needed, so I wouldn't recommend it. But what is needed is the cleaning of these two pieces of equipment. This is your metering system or your eductor. The hose screws in here, picks up the gel, and it is metered through here and it's delivered at the end of nozzle. So what you have in here is a water gel solution. Now when water and Thermogel mix, eventually, well, when they mix, it's 98% water. So water is going to obviously evaporate. This takes a lot longer, but if it is left unmaintained for long periods of time, what will happen is the gel in here, the water gel solution, the Thermogel, is going to harden, and that will cause problems for the functionality of your nozzle. So what I recommend, the easiest way to do it really, is if you have an air compressor readily available, and you can attach, like I think they call it a chuck, to the end of the air compressor, stick the air compressor in here and just blast out whatever's in there. Just blast air through there. Do the same to the top. Blast air through there. And then right in here, you can blast air through there. That should get any hardened gel particles blasted right out. Now if you can visibly see that it is still liquefied formulation, you can just drain it out or not even take it apart. It's when it hardens that it becomes a problem, and that you'll be able to visually see. Now what you'll see in our training manuals, the Thermogel POC nozzle training manual, is it'll suggest you take out these hex screws, dump the BBs out. There's BBs in here that make these adjustable. Dump all the BBs out and do the same here. You unscrew this hex screw and this will come apart and you can clean this area here. What it suggests in there is to soak it in a saltwater solution. That's just fine and that works. Salt will break down the chemical mixture. Salt breaks down Thermogel in either a concentrated form or when it's mixed. It breaks down the chemical cohesion. So that'll work. It just takes more time. It's more labor intensive. Some people don't like to do that. But if you do, like I say, take it completely apart, empty out the BBs, keep track of the BBs because you'll need them if you want this to remain adjustable, and let it sit for a day in a very salty solution until you can visibly see that everything's loosened up. And then you want to make sure before you use it again it's completely dried. This is completely dried and everything in here is completely dried. Again, you can use that air compressor chuck system to blast out all the water and any residual, and that should render your nozzle completely clean, completely functional. Either way is good. I just find the air compressor way easier, it's quicker, and it does just as good a job. Whatever you feel comfortable with, obviously you should do. But I can't say enough. Just leave the water out of here, really. I wouldn't do it, but and that's really all that needs to be cleaned. When you're done using it on an incident or whatever, I would just turn this to off, turn the system here to off, which means you're turning off the flow of gel and you're just flowing water. So you blast water through here, it'll rinse it out, kind of clean off the top part here with maybe this just a quarter way open, you'll just have a little bit of water flowing. Clean off the top, you're good to go. And this also comes off. This shouldn't really need any cleaning. With what I just described, that should clean this part out just fine. And that's pretty much the maintenance of the POC 5-gallon nozzle system. And I would encourage anybody out there, if there's any questions or comments or concerns, to get in touch with me. I'm the Southern California representative, like I mentioned, so I'm here for you guys to help out in any way I can. So thanks a lot. One of the items that you can try in the field, if you're flowing, if you've got this all hooked up, obviously this would be hooked in here. It's going to be hooked up to your pail, your backpack system, and you're flowing. And you're not getting gel. You've got your settings here of 2% for structure protection and 1% for initial attack or laying of wet lines. If you don't feel, first of all, before you start, if you're doing structure protection, don't open your bale at 2% on your home. Open it over here, away from what you're going to protect, and make sure you're getting the solution you want. If you're not getting the solution you want, what I always do is I stick my finger into the water stream and go like this. If you're on 2% and you've put your finger in here and you pull it out and you've got a nice thick viscous gel solution on your fingers that's not dripping off, you're good. You should be pretty good. And I would then go ahead and start protecting or start applying. If you're not getting what you're looking for, what I like to do is there's a chance that the little orifice holes in this metering system are somehow plugged. So what you want to go ahead and do is turn it to the flush setting. Now this is a misnomer really. Flush to us, which we've kind of gone against the grain of firefighter parlance, if you will. Flush does not mean you're flushing your nozzle with water. You're flushing your nozzle with about 8% gel, which is very, very thick. So the flush setting is for if for some reason you're not getting the percentage gel you want, the mixture you want, kick it to flush. That'll flush out any obscurement in this metering system and then go back to your 2% or your 1%. That should remedy the situation. But one thing I always say, when you first start flowing at your 2% or 1%, give it some time to gel up. It may take a few seconds, and then proceed.